Hi, everybody. I'm Hani Shamat, Program Coordinator with the Shared Use Mobility Center. And today I'm happy to introduce Ann Thomas from Shasta Living Streets. Thanks for joining us, Ann.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you fine.
So weird to be, I'm sitting here in the bike depot. There's no one here presenting into a computer. So what my thought was to go through some slides really quickly to just describe a little bit about our context and what we're doing, and then let people ask questions because it's hard to know what exactly to share. Next slide. Thank you. So I do have this presentation I give frequently in different formats where I talk about how pedal assist bikes really change everything, and they do for us, especially for bike share, but for just riding in general and livable communities. So in our community, we have hills. We're a foothill city. We have a lot of summer heat. We have winter cold. We have a very spread out place, low population. And really change management for what we're all trying to do means we need people who aren't just athletes, right? And that also means you need to wear your party clothes. So in Shasta County right now, pretty much most trips can be replaced by bikes or bike share. Next slide. Another reason that pedal assist bikes change everything is that you've seen this data before, but there are a lot of people who would never fit into the 60%, and now they do. So I don't know how it works in your community, but in our community, the heart doctors, people with heart problems, heart doctors are prescribing pedal assist bikes for people with heart problems who would otherwise be in that 33%. People, we have bike share users who don't have a car and have medical issues, and bike share is their only way to get around. So all of a sudden now, biking is serving people in that previous 33% that was no way, no how. Next slide. Just to be clear, so Shasta Living Streets is the organization. We have multiple programs. We run Redding Bikeshare and a mobility hub at the transit center, which is called Shasta Bike Depot. And I guess to be really clear, our programs are funded, and my motivation and others is both two things: climate change, but also community prosperity. Next slide. This is kind of what Redding is all about. Relaxed outdoor living spread out in a foothill town, just for some context. Next slide. Our organization is 15 years old, and our basic theory, which I guess is mine, is that in order to get daily sort of clean mobility for everyone, you have to create a supportive environment, but also a set of amenities, the kind of amenities that, you know, when we first had cars in the United States, there weren't many amenities, not that many people could really use a car. And as soon as there were all sorts of supportive amenities, it made it more easy for people to take up and use cars as transportation. So it's my working hypothesis that that's the position that we're in right now for biking and bike share. Next slide. This is Redding Bikeshare, a bunch about us. So some photos from our launch, which was just over a year ago. We are a high quality docked system, B-cycle. We're very equity focused, community driven. We are a nonprofit organization that we own and run Bikeshare in Redding. There's nothing like this kind of bike share between Portland and San Francisco, which is about 700 miles. Next slide. So because we're here talking about transit integration, the first last mile bike share pass, I think, is what got us noticed. We have launched it. This is a picture of what the little transit pass, or the first last mile pass that people get. The idea is when you're on the bus, so it's supposed to be first last mile. The only way I knew how to do this, and I'm not sure this is the best way, I don't know that we'll do this for a decade, but the way we're doing it now is when people are on the bus, they ask for a pass. There's a special RABA first last mile pass on the app. So they get a pass with a special code that can only be used in that part of the app. As with the rest of our bike share, they get unlimited 60-minute trips for 24 hours. The only way I knew how to do this, if we really are trying to give people first last mile pass, is they need to wake up in the morning and be able to get, you know, from home to the bus. So it had to be, I couldn't figure out how to do it without 24 hours. It's paid for by transit funds. We have integrated on the with RABA, the Redding Area Bus Authority, on the transit app, and I think Move It is done. They're working on that. Next slide, please. So we're working, I feel similarly as was discussed earlier. So in our community, it's really hard for people to understand what bike share is and take it up. I've been calling it the bike share epiphany. And a lot of it is in person, really what works best. But so we have these rack cards, we're doing posters for on the buses. We're gonna, we have plans soon to be in person. Well, we're always in person here at the Bike Depot. So we've already had people come in here, and the Bike Depot is a mobility hub at the transit center, which you can't see, but it's just behind this wall. So people can come in here, they can call us, actual humans respond by text or email or phone. We'll also be in person at the transit depot at various times. I'm hiring people right now for this. In order to do this, we also created the prepaid card process for our system. You need to have a credit card, and a lot of people don't. So what we've learned is if they come in, take a picture of their face, front and back of their ID, give us some basic information, they're probably not going to try to steal our bikes. Next slide, please. The other way we integrate with transit, so we are a mobility hub at the transit center. What that means, the transit center is right behind the building there on the left, which is the depot and a courtyard. And then the one, let's see, to the right at the top is a restaurant. So we provide a number of services and amenities for, if you think of us as a tiny Grand Central Station, that's basically what the vision is. Next slide, please. All of this came about over a number of years with a whole bunch of agency and us as the nonprofit participation. There's also a CRDC is a low income housing nonprofit. So we've been working together for years to get to this point. We have two of the state's largest affordable housing and sustainable communities grants that helps fund part of the Bike Depot and part of Bike Share, as well as a large low-income housing set of units, which you see in that one photo. Next slide, please. The way it works in California is that Shasta County is what you see, that map on the left. So the red areas are the strategic growth areas, and that's where the grants are sort of designated to. City of Redding has, and all of our partners have been powerhouse in pulling this all together with a whole bunch of multiple coordinated grants. Not just a single one can make all the things happen that we're doing. Next slide, please. The other thing that's happening, right, is you can't really have a community that use biking for transportation without safe routes. That's our biggest challenge here. And so this loop trail of different colors that you see is now all funded. It's a 5.1 mile loop. We did some data, so 70,000 people or more, it could be up to 80,000 at this point, live within 3 miles of this loop trail that will be a two-way protected bike lane next to the sidewalk. So we're a trail community, so I call that a trail-like experience that brings everybody in and out of downtown without a car. Next slide, please. Tourism helps us fund Bikeshare, our sustainable funding. I can't pretend that we have sustainable funding into the future yet. We have grants, we're secure for 3 to 5 years, but tourism is really important to us. It's really important to we're a very, we're in the middle of nowhere place. Our businesses rely on tourism, and so do we. Bikeshare really serves people. Thank you. Next slide. These are some of the comments that we've gotten, and I can talk about more, but again, it's a slow uptake for people to understand what Bikeshare is here in our community and how it will serve them. But once they do, it's like this complete mind-blowing transportation or transformation for some people. So the one above, I feel like the Lord has blessed me. This is a man who has trouble walking and he can't drive, and Bikeshare lets him get around everywhere. Anyway, I can talk about it more, but there's all kinds of things people say. And that's the end.
All right, well, thank you so much, Anne.